everyone, welcome back to the channel. So on today's Quick Thoughts, we're going to go over this article from Screen Rant that's actually from November of last year. But it was making the rounds on Twitter yesterday, March 16th, so we're gonna be talking about it now. So Tom Brevoort is an editor at Marvel, and he made some comments last year at Baltimore Comic Con that caught people's attention, even if it was more recently. So at a panel, Brevoort was asked about the relationship between Spidey and MJ, and if we would ever see them married again, because they were married in the mainline continuity for a while, but then they had One More Day, which saw Spider-Man make a deal with the devil to save Aunt May from dying, but he would have to give up his marriage to Mary Jane to do so, which is pretty weird. Like, why would Mephisto even care about his marriage? But it was very poorly received, and to this day, people have been asking for it to basically be retconned, but they just refuse to, because Marvel hates their fans. So the article starts with bad news for those hoping to see Spider-Man and Mary Jane as husband and wife, since it sounds like Marvel Comics just doesn't want these two back together. At least not as a married couple. That's an understatement. A surprising remark from one of Marvel's most senior editors explains why readers aren't going to be seeing a Parker-Watson wedding anytime soon. To be honest, I'm not surprised by this. Marvel has been pretty adamant about this for quite a while. I mean, One More Day came out like 15 years ago at this point, 15 or 16, and fans have been pretty adamant about their disdain for it, but that does not stop Marvel from just ignoring them. And I understand that these are Marvel's characters and they can do what they want with them, but considering the fact that readers are the ones who have to spend their money and time on these stories, I think it'd be nice for them to consider it at least, instead of just completely disregarding the fans. But anyway, speaking at a Baltimore Comic Con in 2024, Marvel editor Tom Brevoort was asked by a guest in attendance about the editorial mandates and exactly who makes the decisions for certain characters. While explaining how Marvel Comics leadership determines the right and wrong directions for their characters, one fan called out Spider-Man's chances of reuniting with his lifelong love and now ex-wife, Mary Jane. Responding to laughs from the audience, Brevoort gave a quick clarification on Peter and MJ's future. So this is a direct quote from Brevoort, saying, "He can get back with Mary Jane, he just can't actually tie the knot with Mary Jane. Those are the ground rules going in. If you're going to work on whatever character, if you're going to work on Daredevil, you're going to have to deal with the fact that he's blind, and he's probably going to stay that way for a while." Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. First of all, I think comparing a relationship to Daredevil's blindness is wild. I mean, Daredevil being blind is just a part of his character. It was from back when he was introduced, and it's one of his defining characteristics. And even still, there were stories where Daredevil got his sight back, so it's not like you have to be totally rigid to that rule, but still there's a huge difference between Daredevil being blind, something that was introduced in his origin, and an editorially mandated divorce. But as far as Marvel is concerned, they can never have a deeper relationship than just casually dating, despite what fans want. I mean, the fact that a fan brought it up to them, even though it's been almost 20 years at this point, just shows that people are still passionate about this, and Marvel being so insistent about this just feels kind of stubborn at this point. And the article also talks about this frustration. Spider-Man and Mary Jane were once one of comics' most beloved couples, but years after the two were officially married, they faced their greatest crisis in the highly controversial One More Day storyline, which, there's a typo here, they put H twice. This article came out in November, they didn't catch that? Okay, sorry, I'm off topic. Anyway, which saw Aunt May nearly killed, and Peter and Mary Jane bargained with Mephisto, who altered history so that the two of them were never married, to save her. Which again, this was such a weird plot point. And Marvel's tried to defend this by saying that Mephisto wanted to steal their happiness, but we all know that it wasn't Mephisto, it was the editors, who were just using Mephisto as a mouthpiece. And it was so forced, but I digress. Okay, the storyline has become one of the most universally disliked, which many fans wishing Marvel would eventually right this wrong, but to this day, Spider-Man and Mary Jane are no closer to being married than they were after One More Day. So pretty much what I was talking about, just no one liked this storyline, but Marvel is very adamant about keeping it, and it's been a frustration for many fans. But the article goes on to point out that they have been married in other continuities, and it was very successful, so their stubbornness about the main 616 continuity is pretty confusing. It says, of course that's the case in Marvel Comics comics' main continuity set on Earth 616. However, with the relaunch of Marvel's Ultimate Universe line, fans do have a currently ongoing series that features Spider-Man married to Mary Jane. Not only are they married, but they have 2 children, Richard and May. Ultimate Spider-Man has been a welcome change for many fans who appreciated seeing Spider-Man at a different stage in his life, and more importantly, in a relationship with the love of his life. So Marvel knows that there's an audience for this, and they know that it is successful when they have done it, but they just refuse to bring it over to the main line. I mean, imagine if, like, Dragon Ball, for example, it starts out with Goku as a child, and he grows and he marries Chi-Chi and has a kid with her, Gohan, and we get to see Goku throughout different stages of his life, and people like it. It's successful. Imagine if Dragon Ball was like, no, Goku can't get married or grow up, then people won't be able to relate to him. We need to keep him at his roots of being a child. Vegeta too, he starts out as an antagonist, and then he gets character development and marries Bulma, and they have a kid together, and we get to see future Trunks, and it's interesting and it keeps things fresh. But here they basically act like Spider-Man can never grow and never be happy in a new stage of life. It just seems a bit petty at this point. Instead, we get characters like Paul, who no one liked and everyone hated. I'm pretty sure that was one of the most hated characters in Marvel, and it just feels spiteful, like they know that no one would like this, but they did it anyway. Like they just refused to let Peter be happy, so then Mary Jane gets sucked into an alternate universe and marries a guy named Paul who is totally random and has kids with him. I don't know why Marvel is so spiteful towards their own fans, but it is really frustrating. Anyway, the article closes out with Brevoort's statements may be more off the cuff or lighthearted than an explicit directive. I don't know. I mean, given everything that's happened in the last decade and a half or so, it seems like that's just the way things are. But they won't come as a surprise either. Yeah, see, that I agree with. A large section of the fan base wants Spider-Man and Mary Jane to be together, as demonstrated by the tremendous reception of Ultimate Spider-Man has received. While the main Spider-Man title has abided by the mandates and kept the two mostly apart, few modern runs of Spider-Man comics, if any, have received the amount of praise as the new Ultimate Spider-Man. So I really don't see how Marvel has any excuse to keep doing this. But that doesn't stop them, and it just comes off as petty and spiteful, which I personally hate, and a lot of fans hate. But yeah, mandate or not, one thing is clear, the comic world knows Peter Parker and Mary Jane, if anyone, should have reached marital bliss by now. That's not the only reason Ultimate Spider-Man is a success, but it sure doesn't hurt. The future of Marvel heroes can be hard to determine, but for Spider-Man and Mary Jane, the evidence speaks for itself. And I think that's a good way to end it, honestly, because it's true. Marvel really doesn't have any reason to keep doing this, but honestly, they're just as pig-headed as Hollywood. No offense. I think that Marvel has seen just overwhelming evidence that there is a market for this, that this is what the fans want, and it's okay to move on with the characters' lives, but I don't know if we're ever gonna see a mainline wedding again, at least not anytime soon. I wouldn't be surprised if they would have to like replace the entire Marvel editing team, so who knows, maybe in like 20 years or so. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. No one likes this, no one wants this, but here we are. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What do you guys think? Do you want to see Spidey and MJ tie the knot? Or are you good with just the Ultimates universe? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. But I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Thanks for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it. Before I go, I want to give a shout out to our members: Tyrant Carnivore, Shiny Orc Boy, Depth Charge Media, Samaru163, Gabby Hime, Verdant Range, JVR, Equestron, Norman Sweet Cream, Way Beyond Coincidence, Hunter Rose, 80s Nostalgia Guy, Felix Bam, Lucas Geist, J Draws, Meowsers, Sky, Philip, Isaac Martinez, Garcia XV Legend, Tobias Weller, Bandito Bane, Mac B909, Dakari the Professor, Todd McCaffrey, Omni Fair, General Bolivar, Cavalcoj, Strider Exile, Phil C, Killer Bomb, Owen Wildish, Slawa Saporiguez, Entwined Boot 301, Griffin of Might, Frankie Camarillo, Datadyne Executive, Crimson Phantom, and Jin the Goblin. Thank you for the support. And if you want to become a member, you can hit the join button next to the subscribe button. We also have Buy Me Coffee if you want to support us that way. And if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And that part's free. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.